Coming up on today's episode of AMA Drone Report, AMA Expo West makes a move. UAS Integration Pilot Program Selectees announced. And Amazon snubbed in FAA's Drone Pilot Program. Hello, I'm Laura Hutson. Welcome to Airborne's AMA Drone Report on Aero-TV, a weekly news program covering the recreational drone world in partnership with the Academy of Model Aeronautics, one of the oldest and most respected aviation organizations in the world, with more than 200,000 members and 2,400 clubs across the country. After a number of years in Ontario, California, the highly anticipated 2018 edition of AMA Expo West will show up in new digs and a somewhat different time of the year. This year, the AMA Expo West team will appear this November 2nd through 4th, 2018 at the Fairplex Exposition Center in Pomona, California. The new location allows for an extensive series of indoor and outdoor events, flights, races, and demonstrations, significantly broadening the space and reach of the event, including full-scale flyovers, professional demos, and some night flying offerings to boot. As usual, AMA Expo West will attract a number of powerful presentations, organization, and speakers, along with a monster slate of exhibitors showing off the latest and greatest in model technology. Best of all, though, is a chance to get up close and personal with AMA staffers, leadership, and elected officials to make sure they know who you are and what matters to you. And yes, AMA Drone Report and Aero-News will be there and should have a few surprises in store for you by then. Stay tuned. In the next Drone Minute, let's take a brief look at a few of the shorter stories that are making the rounds of the small UAS and hobby drone communities. During the protests that erupted along the border between Israel and the Gaza Strip this week, Palestinians launched burning kites across the fence separating the two countries, which led to wildfires that scorched agricultural land and other areas in Israeli territory. The Israeli Defense Forces turned to drone racing pilots to fly their fast drones into the kites, or snag them with fishing hooks to bring them down before they could cross the border. It's not sure how successful the drone pilots have been, but at least one YouTube video shows a drone pulling a kite that had been snagged by a hook. Stafford, Virginia deputies with the Stafford County Sheriff's Office arrested a suspect recently after he severely assaulted his wife, prevented her from calling 911, and then fled the scene on foot. Deputy Stephen Kellum responded to the domestic disturbance call. And after the suspect fled the scene, deputies successfully tracked the suspect by utilizing the drone team and K9 Lobo and his handler, Deputy Alex Smith. The drone observed the subject walking along the railroad tracks northwest of the residence, and the drone operator was then able to direct the K9 and handler to the suspect. Not always the biggest fans of unmanned technologies, ALPA reminded the United States Senate that ensuring the safety of airline passengers and crews remains the highest priority. ALPA said it has long supported the robust development of UAS technology with one single overriding condition. Integration of UAS into the national airspace must be done safely, deliberately, thoughtfully, and with full understanding and proper mitigation of the possible risks. Aviation Pathway, a new proposed high school aviation curriculum, has been announced by the Wichita Public Schools and WSU Tech at the Textron Aviation Citation Longitude Line. If approved, it would be the state's first aviation technical education pathway. Through the program, high school students will have the opportunity to receive their high school diploma and technical certificate at graduation, creating the potential for immediate employment within the aviation industry. That was our Drone Minute. Now back to the rest of the news. The DOT has selected 10 state, local, and tribal governments as participants in the UAS Integration Pilot Program. First announced last October, this White House initiative partners with FAA with local, state, and tribal governments, which then partner with private sector participants to safely explore the further integration of drone operations. Data gathered from these pilot projects will form the basis of a new regulatory framework to safely integrate drones into our national airspace, said Secretary Chow. The 10 selectees are Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma, Durant, Oklahoma, City of San Diego, California, Innovation and Entrepreneurship Investment Authority, Herndon, Virginia, Kansas Department of Transportation, Topeka, Kansas, Lee County Mosquito Control District, Fort Myers, Florida, Memphis-Shelby County Airport Authority, Memphis, Tennessee, North Carolina Department of Transportation, Raleigh, North Carolina, North Dakota Department of Transportation, Bismarck, North Dakota, City of Reno, Nevada, and University of Alaska Fairbanks, Fairbanks, Alaska. According to AUVSI, in the first 3 years of integration, more than 70,000 jobs will be created in the United States, with an economic impact of more than $13.6 billion. This benefit will grow through 2025, when they foresee more than 100,000 jobs created and an economic impact of $82 billion. One of the companies that hopes to be a major player in the drone delivery business was noticeably absent from the FAA's list of participants in the drone pilot program, announced last week. Amazon was left without a partner among the locations selected for testing, that it is hoped will eventually lead to the integration of UAS into the national airspace. In a statement released to the media, Amazon Vice President of Public Policy, Brian Hausman, said, "While it's unfortunate the applications we were involved with were not selected, we support the administration's efforts to create a pilot program aimed at keeping America at the forefront of aviation and drone innovation." Hausman said that Amazon Prime Air is focused on developing a safe operating model for drones in the airspace, and we will continue our work to make this a reality. Well, that's our program for this week. Airborne's AMA Drone Report is presented weekly in cooperation with the Academy of Model Aeronautics. And in addition to this program, our daily Airborne Unlimited episodes covering the entire aviation and aerospace world are streamed on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, with additional breaking news bulletins for important stories that fall outside of our normal deadlines. If you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe and do check us out on Facebook and Twitter. Get comprehensive, real-time, 24/7 coverage of the latest aviation and aerospace stories anytime at aero-news.net. And more information on the exciting hobby drone world at modelaircraft.org. We'll see you next week.